All right, so officially welcome, Sally. Thanks
Hello.
for joining, and welcome aboard to the program. So let's have a look at today's quote, shall we? And then we'll go into the lesson. It leads quite nicely into the lesson, which is a short one. Then we'll do a meditation on it, and then we might even have some time for the text today. So you want to read that quote, and we'll just read the rest of it. There's just a few paragraphs there.
The 75 years and $20 million expended on the grant study points to a straightforward 5-word conclusion. Happiness is love. Full stop. By
Yeah.
George Valiant, the psychiatrist who led the grant study for 40 years.
Have you heard of the grant study?
Not until you mentioned it, no.
Okay. So really, what the grant study it was undertaken to answer the question. What actually makes people happy? And it started off in the 40s with about 268 Harvard graduates, who included actually John F. Kennedy and a couple of senators. It was quite high profile guys, and they then expanded it to look at people in a lower income bracket, 400 odd people, and every couple of years they would survey them, they would speak to them, ask them to fill in questionnaires. So they got a lot of data, and what they found was that there's these two primary factors that lead to happiness and life satisfaction. Number one is the warmth of relationships throughout their life. In other words, love. How close and loving were their relationships. And the second one was coping with life in a way that does not push love away, which is interesting. So they had ways of dealing with things that weren't, pushing love away. And they found that people who could do this were consistently much happier. They earned more money. They were generally more successful in their careers as well. And it was, the foundation of it was their relationships with their partner and with their family. were the key relationships. So we put these.
I wonder if they asked spiritual questions as well, because to me, that's the connection. The connection with another is a metaphor for connection with spirit and all that we are. So I just wonder if that's the logical answer, warmth of relationships, but actually it's the warmth of the relationship with ourselves, our true self.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much they went into it. I've only read about it on Wikipedia and a couple of other sites. So they asked questions about how the person was feeling, but ultimately your relationships indicate a good barometer of your state of mind, aren't they? Because it's a reflection. So if people were struggling in their relationships, it's pointing to an inner struggle, isn't it? That they couldn't quite they weren't accessing that deeper part of themselves, because to really love, really unconditional love, that's what they were talking about, requires a level of spiritual growth and development that's often not present. And they found that people who were struggling themselves, so if they were alcoholics or they were had addictions, that was a major block to their happiness. One of the biggest causes of unhappiness was alcoholism. So it's effectively an addictive kind of pattern of behavior. It's just sabotage love. So we put these findings into Course in Miracles terminology. Love in the introduction to the text, Yeshua says, love is beyond what can be taught. and that removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence is what this course is about. So if we go there, perhaps actually this is a very powerful passage. So maybe just read it out aloud. And
Yeah, I really love this passage. Yeah. This is a course in miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, and for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite.
so pause it there. So any thoughts on that?
I remember the first time I read it, I thought how audacious, is that the word, to say that this is a required course? Is like, really? You know, we're here for free will. How come it's a required course? But as the years have gone on, I understand it now. But
Yeah.
like, wow, what a statement.
Yeah, it's a good introduction. Certainly gets your attention. Be open to it. Okay, so it's a course in miracles. I mean, that alone is like, okay, so what does that actually mean? You know, what do miracles actually mean? And honestly, when you start the course, you don't have any idea what a miracle means. You don't know. You don't understand what a miracle really is. So he's saying it's a required course because we've all got to take the course in one form or another, whether that's through a course in miracles or whether it's through another spiritual path. You know, the course is to learn who you really are. That's what the course is about. The course of life is to learn who you really are. So only the time you take it is voluntary. But free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. In other words, truth is true, the curriculum is set, and your only choice is when you want to learn it.
Yeah, stunning, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's kind of saying, look, this is the way it is. I'm just telling you. You think you have free will, but actually you don't really. Your free will, your ego's version of free will is an illusion. Because there is no other will but God's. So your idea of free will, I have an autonomous will, I can make my own decisions, is part of the delusion that you suffer from. And the course is necessary because you need to be, your mind needs to be corrected. That is not true. You know, you cannot invent yourself. You cannot create a separate self which seemingly has free will and can make its own decisions. That's a delusion. So the curriculum is, you know, learn who you really are, and that is set. Who you really are hasn't changed, so therefore the curriculum hasn't changed. The curriculum since the moment of the separation has always been, you know thyself. Learn, remember who you really are. And so now we have the choice in time, you know, when we want to learn it. We can delay if we choose to, and you know, that just keeps time going. That keeps the dream going. But if we choose to learn it now, which is what he's offering us with this course, then that process can end. You know, we don't need to continue having to be in time when we've learned the truth. So it's kind of giving us the laying it out here in a brilliant introduction, as well as the actual the key teaching. This is, of course, does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. So you can't actually learn love, but you can learn. So then he says, does aim at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. So these blocks can be removed, and that's what the course is aimed at doing. So our learning is to undo really the blocks, and you can learn how to do that, and then love will come of itself. That's what he's really saying. Which is why it's not called a course in love, because love is not what can be taught. It's beyond what can be taught. It's called a course in miracles, because miracles are the corrections that allow love to come back into your mind, allow you to remember love. It's an important distinction. There's actually a course that's been written by someone else who said she also channeled Yeshua, called a course in love, or course of love. But that's not the focus of this course. He's saying the focus is removing the blocks, which makes complete sense if you understand that it's only the blocks that are the problem. And it correlates quite nicely with our with this research, which is interesting. So love is the warm relationships, and they saw evidence of that. Then removing the blocks is, well, can you cope with life in a way that doesn't push love away? That was, can you let go? Coping with life in a way that does not push love away means, can you let go of blocks to love as they arise, and be able to let them go and find that love again. And that's number two. They could substitute and say, well, forgiveness or letting go is really how you do this. So interesting that the research kind of dovetails with what Yeshua was saying in his introduction. I thought that was that was worth noting. And so you've got scientific research over 80 years backing up really what the course is saying on a spiritual level. So really what the research is saying is that the key to happiness is consistently feeling genuine love is the key to leading an authentically happy life. That's really what the Grant study is saying in a sentence. Can you experience genuine love? Not the kind of love that is conditional, that requires things, that there's a genuine warmth, there's a genuine heart opening, I guess, towards another person or other people. And that's key. And so I think it would be interesting to really go into more detail in the study's finding, because they might have asked some spiritual questions and gone, okay, so if you are in a loving relationship and you're saying, yes, my relationship is warm and close, then what is your mindset? What are your spiritual beliefs related to that? Because I don't think you can have really close, loving relationships unless you've done some inner work and you understand who you really are. Otherwise, you're living in an illusion yourself, and you're relating to the other person and people in your life through an illusion. So, yeah, any thoughts on that?
It reminds me of that thing about goldfish that swim in the water and they don't know what water is. It's a bit like us swimming in love and we don't know what love is.
Yeah. It's all around us, but we don't know. Because our senses have caused us to focus on things in the dream world and not on the deeper feeling that the world has been set up to cover. That's really the veil of illusion. It's used to cover over the feeling. When I had my little mystic experience about a year ago, and I mentioned to you, it was so clear to me. We've just covered it over. That's the whole point. Covered over that feeling, and the entire world is there only to justify that continual covering of the feeling of deep love, which is insane. Why would you do that when there's just perfect, pure formless awareness of perfect love, as we call God in our translations? Why would you cover it over with all this nonsense, rubbish, really, that goes through your mind on a daily basis, when that experience is available to you? Why would you deny it? Why would you continue with that insanity? And it just it doesn't really make any sense. I was like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but the process, now that we've done this massive covering over, and we've invented a whole world to cover over the truth, process is now to undo that, and that becomes your only function here.
And it's
Maybe you wonder.
bizarre that it's a bizarre thing, isn't it? That it takes so much work to uncover it, to clear it, to have the clarity. You'd think you'd be able to just go, oh, I see it now. But
but
it's so deep, isn't it? There's so many levels to it.
the nature of the illusion, we've so comprehensively deceived ourselves. That's the thing. I mean, what a deception! What is self-deception? To believe that you're something you're not, and then invent an entire reality to justify that belief and perpetuate that belief that you now think you are living in a body, and you have all these sense perceptions going on, all this stuff going on in a world seemingly outside of yourself, and that's all part of a massive self-deception. Yeah, that is seriously deep, and this has happened over, according to the cosmologists, 14 billion years. Wow, that is a long time to be deceived in yourself. So although it's a simple idea, to actually undo it and get to the core of it, I mean, it asks you to go so deeply into your mind to really uncover the truth and start to know in an illusion, to know the truth. That's what we're trying to do, to know it deeply experientially, so that you're not fooled by whatever the appearances are that surround you, by what your senses are telling you. Even though you still have them, you can still see and feel and touch, and you're not fooled. Your mind interprets them from the deeper awareness of truth. That requires some significant mind training to do, because we've been conditioned. We're born into the matrix, and we've been conditioned from babies, from day one of birth, to believe in the world. Suddenly we have senses, and there's an external world, and there's other people in that world, and this is, we're born and we're conditioned into it. And now we've got to undo all of that and say, no, actually, none of that is true. This is why they have the spiritual metaphor. You're reborn in the spirit. I think most reborn Christians have no idea what that really means. You're reborn. I will accept Jesus into my life. Okay, no, it's not quite as simple as that. We need to go way deeper than that. You need to actually be reborn in your idea of yourself and in your perception of the entire world. That's what we're talking about. A fundamental change in your mindset, your attitudes, your beliefs about who you are, about the world, and in your perception of everything. That's the rebirth. That is the miracle that Yeshua is trying to train us in through his course. And it does require a course to do that. You're not just going to do that, oh, snap my fingers, oh, it's all an illusion. Well, I remember I had this moment of insight years ago when I read The Disappearance of the Universe, actually. I was a quarter way into it, and there's a conversation they have where they're saying, well, God didn't create the universe, which, it says in the course, lesson 14, God did not create a meaningless world. It's there, but somehow I missed it, even though I'd been working with the course for a year or more at that stage. And so I'm sitting there reading this disappearance, and I read this passage, and I just stop. I'm going, holy shit! Like that, actually. Excuse my word, but that's the kind of language that came to me. I'm starting to get it. Like I'm actually in a dream world right now. I just suddenly, you know what I mean? You suddenly like a little insight, and you go like, whoa, okay, I actually get what it means by an illusion now. Well, I'm starting to get it. I'm sitting in a dream world, and none of this is real. Whoa. Okay. And I sat back for a few minutes, and I just thought about that. I was like, so what the hell do I do now?
What do you do with that knowledge?
What do you do with that? What do you do with that information, with that insight? It's like, okay, well, I've got a squash date. I need to go play squash. So I'll carry on. I didn't quite like, what do you do? But you carry on. You carry on practicing and learning and trying to deepen that when you have an insight like that. And the last 15 years has been doing that. So okay, well, can I really deepen into this? Can I really understand this? Like, I've got a glimpse, but can I really understand it? And in that deepening, you've got to go way deep into your ego and really unpack it and face it and see that this thing is not real. I remember, well, it was about 8 years ago. I was going through major like ego undoing, and I had this thought: this is going to kill you, Jono. This stuff, the course, and this is going to kill you. And immediately I kind of looked at that and I was like, yeah, well, the right part of mine, Holy Spirit, said, yeah, well, that's kind of the point. You have to die to the little self. This. You've read all this stuff. You taught it. That's kind of the whole point. You got to die to the little self. Jono has to die, and the character doesn't want to die. It's like, oh, I want to stay as Jono, but you can't. If you're going to go to the spirit, you can't be Jono or Sally or whoever, and also be infinite eternal love. It doesn't work. These identities contradict each other, so you have to choose. And that choice it's not an easy choice to make, because you're facing it's like, I remember going, this is so uncomfortable. This is just really uncomfortable, and I don't quite know what to do about it, because nothing can. There's no palliative. There's no like, oh well, I'll go, like in our society, we're feeling really uncomfortable. Oh well, there's a solution. Go fix it. Go to a doctor. Go to someone who's going to make you a bit more comfortable. It's like, there's no way. I have to just work through this. And you do sort of wonder, well, why am I doing this? Why am I making myself so uncomfortable? It's just like really difficult. But once you're in it, once the process of awakening kicks off, there's no going back, really. You can't just reverse it and go, oh, well, I'll just forget everything I know and go back to how I was a few years ago, where I was kind of comfortably numb. And I didn't really understand anything. Like, I'm now starting to understand, and I have to just go through this. The only way out of this is through. Work through these difficult emotions and continue on this path. But this is why a lot of people don't do it, because it gets really uncomfortable. You've got to face like the metaphysical angst of like, oh my God, I'm not actually who I think I am, and none of this is true. Wow, like if that starts to really drop, that's a realization that your ego is going to revolt at. It's not going to like that at all.
That's what I had last.
Yeah, and then you get these really uncomfortable emotions arising, and most people don't want to face that, so they'd rather just go, no, forget that, and just do what's comfortable. Stay in your comfort zone, and don't really consider this, and so then they won't really dive deeply into it, because it it starts to make them uncomfortable, so they shy away from it.
Yeah, it's serious letting go, isn't it? When you let go of your ego, when you're facing death. I last week on the Tuesday evening, I was like, oh, this is the end. I've got to let go of everything. I've got to let go of
Sally.
and it was
Sally,
like
the identity, the story, all of that, and that is pretty radical, really. That's not an easy thing for most people to confront, and it's way out of the norm. This is not what society tells you to do. They don't tell you to let go of your entire identity. No, we'll just create a better identity. That's what society says. Create a better special self, and you'll be happier. And that's what the ego tells you. So this way is radical, but radical simply means that it's getting to the root of the problem. That's all it means. Radix means root in Latin. So it's kind of funny that we think radical is somehow like extreme, or there's this misperception of radical as someone who's extreme or a little bit dangerous, or kind of unstable, destabilizing the status quo. But it's actually just someone who's going to get to the core of the problem, the root of the problem, and undo it at the root. That's what radical means, and so that's what this process is. He's going to the very core of the problem, which is in your mind, and it's just a belief. That's the core of the problem. And so let go of that belief and the problem solved. But easier said than done. Oh, just let go of the belief in separation. Right. Okay. Except that belief has invented the entire world. It's given me an identity. It's given me a body. It's created this entire reality and my existence as I think of it. That's what the belief in separation has done. So it's the foundation of my world. So that means, well, that world's got to go. Entire reality that we've invented has got to go. And if that doesn't push a few buttons, then nothing will. That's what we're talking about here. So it takes courage. We talked about the hero's journey. It takes the courage to say, yeah, okay, I'm up for it, because it's a required course. I know I have to take it at some point. So now's the time. I choose for it to be this lifetime. So all right, I'm up for it. Holy Spirit, Yeshua, show me. Take me by the hand, show me, and I'm willing. Well, all he's asking for is willingness. He's saying you just need to be willing, and I will guide you. The Holy Spirit will guide you. Just be willing to keep, showing up and doing the work.
Yeah, the key beliefs that have shifted me over the last 3 weeks were letting go of the belief of separation, letting go of the belief that I am a body, and letting go of ego. And each of those caused a big shift. And where I'm up to is the universal laws like gravity and stuff, or the universe. Well, all of them, all the laws. I just don't even know where to begin with it. It's like gravity. If you can see, you told me that some yogis were able to defy gravity, and I've seen some things happen where it defies gravity. And you see it, but you still, what can you do with that? You see it's not following the normal belief systems. But
it means they're not absolutely true. That's what it means.
But then I continue to see everything else that follows the gravity rule. But I make odd exceptions where something goes up instead of down. I notice it and go, wow. And then I carry on living my life with the normal gravity. I mean, that's bizarre.
Oh. But you realize that that's not ultimately true. That's the whole point. So yes, on a practical level, well, gravity's kind of with you all the time. It's what's keeping you rooted to your chair right now. But you don't believe in that law as a fixed law. These are absolutely true. It's all relative, as Einstein discovered. It's all these laws are all relative. Theory of relativity just says it's all relative. In time and space, everything's relative. There's no absolute. So gravity is not an absolute law. In fact, even the constants, they have like gravitational constants and the speed of light and these kinds of things. These apparently vary. According to Rupert Sheldrake, these are not fixed. They change. Why do they change? Well, we don't know, but they're not fixed. So if they're not fixed, are they actually absolutely true and real? The answer must be no. They're not. So what it starts to do is loosen the ego's hold on your mind. Whereas if you believe in these as absolute fixed laws, then you believe in the world, the external world, as real, and you believe in the separate self that inhabits that world, what your sense perceptions tell you. So that's why questioning the whole Newtonian physics paradigm is a major it's a way of spiritually awakening, because you're going, it's not as real as I thought it was. These laws are not absolute. They're not true ultimately. There's a deeper law. Quantum mechanics points us to something way deeper that is not explained by these laws. In fact, all the laws break down at the very fundamental particle level. Well, there's nothing really there. Is it a particle? Is it a wave? Well, it's a wave when you're not looking. It's a particle when you look. That's what it's saying. So what's that saying? Okay, well, reality is in my observation. There is no reality in the absence of observation. That's the fundamental principle. Wow. Okay. So there's no objective, independent reality outside of me. My perception creates reality. Whoa. So, that's what the spiritual teachings are saying. That's what quantum mechanics is saying. So it kind of breaks down the idea that there's a fixed external world that's really out there, independent of you. That's just not the case. So then you have to question, does any of it really exist? If it's only in my mind, the entire reality is perceptual, maybe it's an illusion. Maybe I'm just making it up. I'm perceiving something that's not really there. That's where it points you to.
So what about like universal laws, like we say, I don't know, the law of attraction or the law of vibration or something? Is that also a concept in our mind?
Yeah, it's all part of the construct of the ego. Law of attraction points to a deeper law, which is oneness, because that's why you have attraction. Okay, so you think something and then you create it. Okay, so your thought, in other words, has power. You're not independent and separate. Your thoughts influence your reality. So it's pointing to a deeper underlying truth. And it's like, how deep do you want to go? And you go a level deeper than the law of attraction. You start going, well, it's pointing to the idea that I'm connected. I'm connected to everything. I'm not actually separate. So my thinking and the world that I'm apparently in are somehow connected, and I see the effects of that. So that's kind of another level of it. But you go beyond that, then you go to oneness. Where do you go? Well, actually, it's all one. The reason why that's true is because there's only one mind, really. I'm not really separate from anyone or anything. I'm part of this whole mind. And the law of attraction shows me that. The operation of it is a pointer to the eternal truth that we are all one, which transcends law of attraction and any other law. Like, law of attraction is just a useful learning device, really, in the illusion, if you start learning that, but it's not the end game. Well, what happens a lot with the ego is it'll go law of attraction, and then it tries and hijacks it and goes, oh, well, you can use that to get what you think you want in the world, to perpetuate the dream. And then that's not helpful. You're not using it for your awakening. You're using it to get what you think you want and need in the dream world, which perpetuates the dream world and your separate self. And so that's not very helpful at all. But if you use it as a phase of, okay, yes, if I can start learning about this idea of law of attraction, that my thoughts have power, and so therefore, I'm not actually separate from anyone or anything. That's what it's pointing me to, because I'm connected to the whole thing. So let's take that a level deeper. Well, maybe I'm not just connected. Maybe I'm one with it all. Maybe my mind is actually the mind of everyone. There's really no separation in truth. So law of attraction can take you into the deepest truth, but a lot of people just get stopped at the level of form, and they just go, oh, okay, great, I know law of attraction, so I'll just try and manifest now. I'll try and manifest a lot of stuff in the world. And Yeshua's saying, no, that's not really the Holy Spirit's program. The Holy Spirit's program is for you to awaken to yourself, to who you really are, and that is beyond form. So if you get stuck on manifesting in form, that's going to end up being another block to the awareness of love's presence, which you then have to overcome. So like, all of this stuff's useful. Law of attraction, all the personal growth stuff. It's useful to a point if it helps you to start awakening to some of these ideas that, yes, I'm not separate. Actually, I'm connected in with everything. But then, like, at a point, you got to go beyond that, because that's then becomes another dead end. If you stop there, that's not full awakening. And that's what I found when I came to the course, whenever it was, 16 years ago. I was like, okay, I've done all this stuff. What next? Where's this leading? There's something more, and I'm kind of missing it. And I want really, my request was for the whole truth. I said, I want to know the whole deal. And then the Course of Miracles came along, in response to that request. And then, then you get into the process in your hero's journey and the abyss of, awakening. And you go, did I really want this? Why is it? I thought I wanted the whole truth, but whoa, the truth is, the truth is hectic. As Jack Nicholson famously said, I don't know if you watched A Few Good Men. It's a movie with Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, and he's on the stand being interrogated by Tom Cruise. And he says, "You want the truth?" He says, "You can't handle the truth." And it's like, yeah, can you actually handle this? Is the question, because it's not an easy realization. The hero's journey is like, whoa, you've got to face, and no one can do this for you. No one can take the journey for you. It's up to you. You've got to sit with the difficulties and the challenges and stuff. This is your journey, and they're helpers and they're guides, and they're with you, but you've got to go through it, and you've got to face those challenges and temptations, as the diagram says, and overcome them. And that's your own personal journey, and no one can do that for you. That's why it's a hero's journey. When you do have times when you go, oh my God, what have I got myself into? Did I really want this? Why is this happening to me? Because it's uncomfortable, and a part of you still wants to remain in the known world. That's kind of comfortable. You're not really stretching yourself, but it's not really, because you know that you actually missing out on something. You're not quite sure what. Okay, so there's a little video you can watch. There's quite a lot of info if you want to Google the Grant study. It could be quite useful actually in your teaching to reference the study.
Yeah,
because it's scientific research. You can say, well, look, this is actually backed up by the research, and here's the research over 20 years. So it's really just confirming what these spiritual principles are saying, and they've found, that happiness is love. I mean, this was, if a psychiatrist, this is unusual language really for a psychiatrist, isn't it? To say happiness is love, full stop. That's quite unusual language, that you would think he'd kind of embellish on it, but he was just like, well, this is what we found. Happiness is love, full stop. Okay, well, a very simple summary of 80 years of research work. And you go, did we have to do all that research to find that out? But obviously we did. I think in the 40s, they didn't really know. The study was done because they were like, what actually does make people happy? We don't really know. So, let's do research on it and see empirically. And then what you see is like scientific research, quantum mechanics, spiritual teachings. It all converges on one point. You're going in the same direction. It all different perspectives and angles that lead you to the same truth ultimately. Then you start to go, okay, well, if all roads are leading to Rome, then that must be the destination. There's actually only one destination in the end. And so I guess what I've tried to do in this course is show you, look, there's multiple ways of looking at this. There's so many angles, but whichever angle you take, it's going to lead you to the same conclusion eventually. So then there must only be one truth. There's not multiple truths. There's one truth. And everything actually points there. If you have the eyes to see it, you'll see everything's pointing you to that one truth. Whether you take a scientific perspective, research-oriented, or you go into quantum mechanics and quantum theory, or you just want to go, a spiritual path, whichever spiritual path you take, or you meditate, it's all going to lead you to the same, you end up in the same place, which is, only oneness is true, which is what all the masters and mystics and saints and avatars have said over, thousands of years. You'll end up in the same place because that's where they all get to. There's only oneness. So why not just surrender to that? Let's just surrender and do it quicker. We don't have to waste time. Let's just, I think with all this knowledge, information available to us, we have a huge opportunity to just awaken really quickly. Okay, we'll stop with all the defenses and just start getting it and understanding this. And you don't need multiple more lifetimes to do this. You can do it in this lifetime. And then it's game over for the ego. Okay, so any thoughts on that, or shall we go into the lesson?
I was just thinking about my journey, and I was thinking about how when I started kinesiology, we worked with chakras and meridians and acupressure pumps, points, and all that. But I suppose that's was just my way of getting to know that invisible energy
Yeah.
and and really the concept of, well, do chakras really exist and stuff is ultimately when you're ready to let that belief system go, you let it go and take it to the next step, don't you? It's
Yeah.
it's an
It's
interesting crutch, isn't it?
it's baby steps. No one starts at full realization of the truth. It's too much. Look, I don't even exist. None of this is true. None of this is real. That's not going to typically be the starting point of anyone's spiritual journey. It's more like, okay, I'm not that happy. There's something else. There are these interesting teachings. I read a book. Yeah, that okay. My mind has power. You start to learn. My thoughts are important. I'm kind of connected. If I think something and I focus on that, then that kind of manifests in my reality. This is how we start, and then it's like step by step into the full realization of like, whoa, holy shit, actually none of this really exists. Wow. Okay, but you've kind of led up to that realization. It didn't just dawn on you. So occasionally, that you do get people who just have a major crack and they go there. Like Romana, I mean, he woke up at 16, just got it, like, in a few minutes. But then that would have been many lifetimes. You can be sure that wasn't his first lifetime. He probably got it. He was probably pretty awakened in his previous one, and he came back and was like, okay, he's one experience away from enlightenment, and it happened when he was 16. So that because this isn't our first lifetime. We've been here, many times before. So that would have been karma. He was probably a guru in a previous life or something. And so, okay, 16, and he just wakes up, and it seems really easy, but he might have done huge amounts of work in previous lifetimes to get to that, to get to that state. So we all have our stuff, and it's just undoing the blocks. That karma is still our remaining belief in separation, and how that plays out for us. And then everyone has their journey of undoing that, and that's going to be unique. Oh wow, we've got some mowing going on. All right, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
I can move inside if that's. Is it really loud or not? Too bad.
It'd be quite loud on the recording. Oh, there you go. Stop.
Let me move inside. I think because we want to do a medit. Oh, it might be finished. Might be finished soon. Let's just see how we go. So if you want to
Yeah.
you read that.
Okay. God, being love, is also happiness. Happiness is an attribute of love. It cannot be apart from it, nor can it be experienced where love is not. Love has no limits, being everywhere, and therefore joy is everywhere as well. Yet can the mind deny that this is so, believing there are gaps in love where sin can enter, bringing pain instead of joy? This strange belief would limit happiness by defining love as limited and introducing opposition in what has no limit and no opposite.
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
I guess I'd never really thought about love being happiness. I just thought it was a variation, it's the same vibration, but it's a different word, a slightly different sense to it. But it's saying it literally is the same, isn't it?
It's an awareness, so love is awareness. That's why we say I didn't translate God here because I thought it was useful. As you say, perfect love being love is also happiness. God being love is also happiness. So it's saying that it's a feeling, it's an energy, and that feeling, that awareness, is what's going to make you happy. In
Mm.
that feeling, you're contented, and he's just pointing out the obvious, really.
Yeah, it's just the difference between ego happiness and true self happiness, isn't it? That the ego happiness comes and goes and is limited by circumstances, where true love is an ongoing, constant energy.
Yeah. Um, and there's, ego happiness is not really happiness. It's just desire, fear. Authentic happiness is really being in the true awareness of who you really are. I think I'm going to move inside. It's actually just
Okay, I'm just going to go to the toilet while you do that.
no problem. All right. So yeah, it's a little bit better because I'm indoors. So
Mm.
um, let's continue, shall we?
Mm.
Okay. So any other thoughts on number one?
No.
I'll get rid of this. Really just pointing out what should be completely obvious, but has been obscured by the ego. That happiness is love. It doesn't want you to see this.
Mm.
It wants you to see that happiness is somewhere outside of you. Happiness lies in acquiring something, getting a new possession. Happiness lies in an experience. Happiness lies in special love. That's the biggest illusion, isn't it?
Mm.
Well, you'll be happy when you have the special love of that person. But happiness does not lie. The ego tells you, just in the true awareness of who you really are, just in yourself. You're happy because of who you are, because that's enormously threatening to its identity.
Mm.
It has to try and get you to look outside of you for happiness. Because if you look within, then you will see it, you will find it, and you will undo it. You will see the block, and you'll go, actually, I'm not happy because of my mindset. It's my own belief system that's the problem here. I can't blame anyone or anyone else. And so we have this strange belief that limits happiness by redefining love as limited and introducing opposition in what has no limit and no opposite. So we believe in sin, we believe in conditional love. Special love is conditional, and there's all kinds of gaps. It's like, well, yes, I love you if you do what I want you to do, if you meet all my expectations. But if you don't, then I hold a grievance. So now we have grievances and sin and pain entering instead of joy. And this all limits happiness by redefining love as limited, introducing opposition in what has no limit and no opposite, which is reminiscent of the introduction, isn't it? The opposite of love is fear, but what is all encompassing can have no opposite. So it's stating that we seem to have an opposite, but actually it's all encompassing and it actually has no opposite. So that's a statement on two levels. That's the level one we seem to be living in, the world of duality, and then level two, what is all encompassing can have no opposite. So we've redefined love, and we've made up this opposition, this opposite to it, which we call fear, but actually it's still there. That state of perfect love is still there. It doesn't matter that we've invented all of this. The potential is still there, but the actuality, the actual experience of it is denied us as long as we have this, the belief that there's something else. As long as we believe in duality, well, then love is limited. So then he says, maybe just finish the, because I don't think you read the second paragraph, just to sum it up.
The course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way: nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. It's very comforting to read that, but it's also like, whoa.
Yeah, that's like a Zen koan. I've read that many times and I've thought about it. And you can kind of think, and nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Just wrap your head around that one. And it's one of those things, like a Zen koan. You can contemplate and go deeper and deeper, just on those three lines. In fact, I think I heard Ken Wapnick saying, if you understood the introduction, you wouldn't need the course. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Oh yeah, okay. Herein lies the peace of God. Okay, I'm in the peace of God. I don't need the course. But most people read it and go, okay, what is like? I kind of get there's profundity here, but what does he actually mean? I need to really understand this. And you have the entire course to understand these three lines and really experientially understand them. So the experiential understanding of this course leads to the peace of God that passes all understanding. That's not a human understanding. It's not a logical understanding. It takes you into the mystic experiences of deep peace and joy and bliss, which is in this world certainly not logical. It's not logical to be that peaceful and that blissful in a world of duality with apparently so much pain and suffering and misery and death. It's not logical. That's why it's the peace of God that passes all understanding, because you've got to just drop all of your existing understanding. Nothing unreal exists, so it doesn't really exist, and nothing real can be threatened. So love, this perfect love, cannot be threatened by anything that you've invented, which is the foundation of this whole work. Because if it could really be threatened, then it would be denied, and there'd be no way back. The threat to it would be the reality. But in truth, that awareness cannot be threatened. And that's therein is the undoing of the ego, and therein is your salvation or awakening. Okay, it can't really be threatened, so it doesn't matter what I think I've done. It doesn't really exist. And that's enormously liberating, but extremely threatening for your ego. The ego is going to have like strong reaction to that. And a lot of people read the introduction and go, nah, nah, it's not for me, thanks. I don't really get it. It's too like nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Wow, like okay, I don't even really understand that language. So it's either going to get you, the introduction is either going to go, oh, I'm intrigued, I want to know more. Let me like dive into this, or like, oh no, I'm not ready for this. It's too much, and then you put the book down and don't look at it for another 10 years until until a crisis comes along. Maybe I remember vaguely reading. Maybe I should go back and read it again.
I bought the Course in Miracles book 3 times, and I just put it on the shelf and gave it away twice. And on the third time, it kind of jumped out of the bookcase at me. I took it downstairs, left it on the side of the sofa. I didn't know what to do with it. And then a friend texted me and says, I think we need to go through the Course in Miracles together. Okay. And that was where the journey began. But yeah, it took 3 books to get me there.
Yeah. There's a lot of resistance. I mean, because this is the end game. This isn't something your ego knows when it's met its match. And I think it kind of knows, okay, here we have a teaching that is going to be its undoing. That's why I was like, this is going to kill you, Jono. It's like this stuff's actually gonna, because the ego is gonna be killed or undone. It didn't really exist, so it's not really dying, but it's an undoing of a belief system in your mind that gives you your entire existence here as human. So that's what this is going to do. And so of course there's going to be, ego's got huge resistance to that. It doesn't want to know that at all. It wants to just keep you very far away from anything that's going to really undo it. But the spiritual call is stronger in some people. It's like, no, there's something in me. It's like, I really want this. This is my deepest, calling and desire, and it's time now, and I must do this. And the course is for those people who like, okay, I'm actually willing. I'm willing to. Doesn't mean I don't have resistance still, but I'm willing to carry on and work through the resistance, and not honor it. Okay, so back to the lesson. Happy with number 1? You want to give a little summary of that? It's only a very, very simple message in that.
Love is everything. And if you deny love, you deny the truth. And it can't be divided. It can't be separated. It's just limitation. We're just creating limitation within something that's complete.
Yeah. Opposition and limitation in what has no opposite and what cannot be limited. Which makes no sense at all. Why would you do that? And that happiness is an attribute of love. I think that's the key point. That when you're in this unlimited state, then happiness is a natural experience. If you're in the limitless unconditional love he's talking about, you're in that state of awareness. Happiness is a given. You don't have to go, oh, I'm still looking for happiness. It's a complete state. You are what we'd call happy. Happy doesn't even do justice. It's just a word. It's a pointer. You are whole. You are complete. You are back home. You're where you belong. And that feeling is amazing. That feeling's very happy, to use a word which doesn't really do justice to the experience at all. It's a very happy feeling. So what he's saying is, merge your mind, let go of your ego, restore your mind to love, and happiness will come. It's inevitable. You don't have to go seek it outside of you. Just let go of all the blocks, and you will be happy. You'll be in perfect love, and perfect love brings perfect happiness. Okay, I want to move on to number 2.
Okay. Fear is associated then with love, and its results become the heritage of minds that think what they have made is real. Let me just read that again. Fear is associated then with love, and its results become the heritage of minds that think they have made what they have made is real. Cool, there's a bit of resistance in me saying that, isn't there? Okay. These images, with no reality and truth, bear witness to the fear of God. Forgetting being love, he must be joy. This basic error we will try again to bring to truth today and teach ourselves. God, being love, is also happiness. To fear him is to be afraid of joy.
Okay, and then begin your periods of practicing.
Yeah, begin your periods of practicing today with this association, which corrects the false belief that God is fear. It also emphasizes happiness belongs to you because of what he is. Okay.
And then the alternative.
Alternatively, fear is associated then with love, and its results become the heritage of minds that think they have made what they have made is real. Oh my God, to meditate on that one. These images, with no reality and truth, bear witness to the fear of perfect love that must be joy as well. We will try again to let go of this basic error and teach ourselves. God, being pure, formless awareness of perfect love, is also happiness. To fear this is to be afraid of joy. Begin your periods of practicing today with this association, which corrects the false belief that pure, formless awareness of perfect love is fear. It also emphasizes happiness belongs to you because of what it is.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
That was interesting. My voice kept going on the same sentence. Yeah, well, fear is in the human world associated with love, yeah. Yeah, the fear of perfect love. It's bizarre, isn't it?
It is. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you fear joy? But we do. we prefer the hell that the ego is made for us to the bliss, eternal bliss that's awaiting us. We'd rather have the separate identity and the pretty unpleasant states, really. Fear, guilt, sin. These are not nice emotions to have. We'd rather have that than joy. Like, why? He's just saying, well, that makes no sense at all. You could have perfect bliss and joy forever, for all eternity. Like no variation, no change, just like complete ecstasy all the time. Well, not all the time, because there's no time there, but it's a continuous, unbroken state. Why would you fear that? So if you fear God, you fear this pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is what God is, then you're afraid of bliss, happiness, joy, and you prefer the illusion of sin, guilt, fear, attack, and you think that's somehow going to make you safe to stay in a dream world where these kinds of things happen all the time, rather than letting it all go and just going into perfect bliss. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
And that's what I saw in that little experience I had. It was like, wow, that's just, for an instant you touch perfection. It's absolutely perfect. Nothing needs to be added, nothing needs to be done. You're just there, and you're just aware of it. That's it. And then you come back and you go, oh God, now I'm back in this place. Which has no real purpose other than to cover that over. yeah, the realization was was like, what the hell did we do? Why did I do that?
Mm.
That was just the most stupid thing that I've ever done. But we think we've done it. Now the only thing to do is to undo it. Okay, well, I've got to reverse the process, correct it all in my mind, and undo it all. Okay, any other thoughts on that? You want to give a little summary of that second paragraph?
We've got a fear of love. Ego's got a fear of love. It'll do anything to keep us distracted from realizing that we are perfect love. That we'll go on searching forever, trying to find joy. And actually, ego is covering it up, and it's already been there all this time.
And these images, he's talking about fear associated with the images that are projected out of our mind into the illusion. There's no reality and truth. Bear witness to the fear of perfect love. So anything we fear in this world, we think, I'm fearing whatever the person, the situation is. It's an image that I've invented to cover love. And so my real fear, our deepest fear, is of love. Because that's an undoing of our limited separate self, which we cherished, which we want. We want to keep it, we want to protect it and love it and perpetuate it, and so our deepest fear is of the truth of this perfect love, which doesn't make any sense. So when you see the insanity of it, then you're willing to let it go by highlighting this, by going into all this detail about how the ego works. You then start to become willing to let it go, don't you? It's like, well, it doesn't make any sense to maintain this. So the logic, he's undoing this with the logic, this perfect logic of the Holy Spirit, getting us to accept, to see the logic and to accept it. So yeah, that actually makes sense. In fact, the only thing that does make any sense is what, his thought system he's proposing, which is the Holy Spirit's, which is the correction of everything the ego's invented. That's the only thing that makes any sense. Anything else doesn't make sense. So I'd be crazy to continue trying to make the ego's thought system work, because it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense, and it never will. And I just found that enormously relieving when I really started to get this message. Oh, thank goodness! No, I don't have to keep trying to make the unworkable work, because that's the ego script. You're going to keep trying to make this world work, and you're never going to succeed. It's never going to work. So, Yeshua's just saying, give it up. The way out is just give it up, let it go, and you don't have to keep on this really futile track of trying to make the unworkable work, because it's never going to work. Just let it go and restore your mind to love. Okay, happy with number 2?
Yeah. Number 3, allow this one correction to be placed within your mind each waking hour today. Then welcome all the happiness it brings as truth replaces fear and joy becomes what you expect to take the place of pain. God, being love, it will be given you. Bolster this expectation frequently throughout the day and quiet all your fears with this assurance, kind and wholly true. God, being love, is also happiness. And it is happiness I seek today. I cannot fail because I seek the truth.
Yeah. The alternative?
Alternatively, allow this one correction to arise in your awareness each waking hour today. Then welcome all the happiness it brings as truth replaces fear and joy becomes what you expect to take the place of pain. Because God is pure, formless awareness of perfect love, happiness and joy will be given to you. Bolster this expectation frequently throughout the day and quiet all your fears with this assurance, kind and wholly true. God, being pure, formless awareness of perfect love, is also happiness. And it is happiness I choose today. I cannot fail because love and happiness are the truth. Yeah, very comforting.
Mm.
It's like a softness to it.
Yeah, we're just trying to take you into these deeper states just through the words. So I changed, you notice I changed this happiness I seek today. This happiness I choose today, I think is much more powerful.
Yeah, it was really good.
I cannot fail because love and happiness are the truth. I don't seek the truth. I cannot fail because they are the truth. So, going out of the seeking to like actually acceptance that this is what it is. Right now, they are the truth, and I cannot fail because they're the truth right now. They always have been the truth. They always will be the truth, and I can always accept that truth. Doesn't matter what's kicking or what the ego's kicking off. They are still the truth, and it is enormously comforting to just think, yeah, it's a done deal. Love and happiness are the truth. All I've got to do is accept that and be happy, be really glad that this is the case. That everything the ego has invented is not true, and love and happiness remain the truth, and they always will be the truth. And there's nothing I can do that can change that. so all of my mistakes and errors and sins and just don't matter at all. There's a total freedom in that, isn't it? It's like grace. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you think you've done. It doesn't matter what mistakes you think you've made. It doesn't matter. Love and happiness still are the truth, and all you have to do is accept them, and you're back in truth, and then you're free and you're saved. So simple, really, such a simple message. But to actually accept this is the work of a lifetime. Okay, well, love and happiness are the truth. Nothing else is true. I totally accept that. I live in that state of mind, and that's uncommon. That's why enlightened beings are uncommon, because it's not the norm. Most people live in the illusion that no, actually, happiness is a luxury. A lot of people, no, I can't. I don't have time to be happy. I've got this and this and this and this, all this stuff to do. I've got bills to pay, responsibilities. I don't have time to be happy. Or one day I'll be happy. No, well, let me just get through the next 10 years, and then I'll get there. When I retire, or when the kids leave home, or then I'll have time for happiness. Right now, no. And it sounds crazy when you say it like that, but that actually is the kind of default belief system of our society. I don't have time to be happy. I'm too busy. Too busy doing what? That's the question. So it doesn't say you don't do anything. You don't continue with those things, but you make love and happiness primary. It's like these are absolutely foundational to my existence. These must be primary every day in my life while I'm continuing on with the dream world and doing what I'm doing in the dream world. I'm connected to this deeper love and happiness. Otherwise, what's the point? There's no point. That's the truth of the matter. All the egos, if you're not feeling loving and happy, there's really no point to your existence at all. It's just a cover. It's a block. Your entire life is just a sham. It's a mask. It's a deception to cover over love. And there's absolutely no point to living that way. Which is why the ego fundamentally can never be happy, because it lacks meaning. It lacks purpose. There's no meaning and no purpose to it. Only love and happiness are the truth, then only those have meaning and purpose, which means fear and unhappiness cannot be. Okay, so any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just welcome in the happiness and keep practicing it. and let the joy be there. Yeah, I do. I keep practicing. I just keep doing it as often as possible. It's amazing. Every time I intend to practice this every hour, and then a few hours go past, and I go, "Oh, darn it!"
Oh, I forgot. No, no.
Yes, the ego's a tricky little devil.
One of its big defenses is making you forget.
Mm,
So
mm.
you just say, "Oh, I get busy with other things," and you forget to do your practice. I don't have time for the practice. But what's important? You're going to make the time or not. He's only asking for a few minutes every hour. It's not that big a deal. Especially if you doing your own thing, you're working for yourself. Well, you decide. So you don't have anyone looking over your shoulder saying, "Oh, you need to be cracking on. You can't be doing a breath break now." It's like it's up to you. So, um, yeah, follow his program because it's a systematic mind training process that he's asking you to undertake, which is going to work to undo your ego. If you keep doing this daily, daily reminders, um, frequently in the day, uh, the ego can't sustain against that. It's going to go. It has to. So this workbook is really it does work. The reason why so many people don't really get major awakening through the course is because they don't practice it. So like, I'm doing the course. Okay, well, what does that mean? You read it every week? Yeah, I dip in and out. When I feel. But like, what's really going to undo the ego is follow his course. He's giving it to you as like he's giving you the instructions. He's saying follow this because this is going to work. Don't do your own course and go, oh, okay, well, I'll just dip into it, whenever I want, and like I won't really practice these ideas daily because that's you're limiting your learning and your growth hugely. Okay, so do you want to give a little summary of number 3, and then maybe we can go into a meditation?
Yeah, just keep practicing, readjusting my mind and let the truth in of happiness and joy. So it replaces all painful thoughts and ideas. And yeah, frequency of it is what's coming home to me right now. That avoidance of doing it every hour. Because one day when I did it, it was just massively different. But yeah, something kept stopping me today. I'm going to do
Then
something.
he's asking us to be very honest and say, well, what's actually stopping me?
Mm,
What's stopping you? You might say, oh, well, I was busy, or that to do. But if you're honest, like there's a deeper level of resistance to the truth that's actually stopping you. That then plays out as, oh, well, I've now got a distraction. But that's what the ego specializes in. I mean, in fact, the whole world is just a massive distraction device. That's what it is. To distract you from the truth of pure formless awareness, of perfect love, which is within you, we invented an external world. It's going to keep your mind focused on all kinds of distractions and not on the truth. So that's what you're dealing with. So the temptation's always there to distract yourself. But if you're really serious about this, and I can tell you are, you're like, yeah, I want salvation or awakening, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, above all else, this is what I want. So this is my priority. This is my focus. It's my priority. Everything else must fit around this. And it will do beautifully. If you give everything to the Holy Spirit, you can actually be very effective and productive in this world, guided by Spirit. But you give everything, primarily to this, to this process. You say, this is my this is my commitment. This is my focus.
yeah.
And nothing will, so unless there's absolute emergency, I stick to the program because it makes sense to do that. This is my priority. It's my number one focus. So why wouldn't I spend 5 minutes an hour doing it? Kind of makes sense. But so most people don't. because actually in truth their priorities elsewhere. How you allocate your time and your money are good indicators, aren't they, of what you really value. What do you really value? Well, I know I really value spirituality, but I only spend an hour a week on it. well, what are you saying by the way you spend your time? But if you're spending, a few minutes every hour and maybe a couple of hours in the day, then you're saying, yeah, this is important to me. This is actually, I value it by my time allocation, and just practically speaking, the time is necessary to accomplish the undoing. Without practicing these ideas and experiencing the shifts that they bring about and going into these deeper states, your awakening doesn't happen. It just won't happen if you don't do spiritual practice. So it's just recommit and say, yeah, this is important. If you in the state where you can actually do it, if you're working, say, a full-time job, it may be challenging to do it every hour. You might be in a meeting, you might be have a deadline to cover. But if you're working for yourself, and you're your own boss, well, there's no one stopping you but you. You can arrange your schedule, as you choose to do this. So, yeah, you just made a commitment today. So I guess it's like another. Okay, it's 3 weeks. Make another. Go. Okay, I'm going to take it to the next level now. I've dabbled in this and it's great, and I've got a lot of benefits. So let me recommit and just I'm going to take this to another level and try and do it every hour if you can. And just see what happens, because I can tell you your shifting will just be like you're giving a huge gift to yourself, because the growth that you'll experience from that is enormous. And then given that you're actually doing this in your business, this is what's going to take your business forward, because a new level of understanding and insight for you is then going to give you all kinds of new teachings, new ways of doing things that so it's actually business development for you as well, which is great. So that you can then spread this to others.
I've just written down a list in my notebook of all the times to practice it, what I'll be doing, when I can do it, and I can totally see how to do it now.
Great.
It's like integrating it, isn't it? Rather than making it a separate activity, I make it, if I'm with a client, then we do it together. Before I do a client, after I've done a client, in the group, whatever I'm doing at the time, I can see it. I've got a clearer vision.
Great, because that's what it's about. The practicality of it is, okay, all the theory is great, the metaphysics, but the practical, where the rubber meets the road of this course, is, can I do this on a daily basis? Can I actually practice regularly and integrate it into my life in a seamless way? Well, if you can do that, then you'll advance hugely. And the great thing is you're doing this work anyway with clients. So why not integrate it? Okay, well, let's do a practice period together. And then you kind of introduce them into this, and then they might go, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. I'd like to know more. And, and so it goes. So you'll find, if you just give it to the Spirit, it's going to show you. It'll show you how to really do it and make it work, so that, you can actually get everything done and more. It's not actually taking this. Remember, miracles are the only mechanism you have for controlling time. So they actually help you to control time. And time is not true. So it's all perceptual. So you start doing this kind of work, interesting things happen with time and space. And time gets created for you to do the work. So that, I'm look at what's happened with me. 3 years. I had the time was created for me, series of circumstances, and I just accept you have to surrender to it and say, okay, well, if the time's there, then let me make best use of it. So you'll find more and more that that's what happens if you commit. If you do the internal commitment and you go, yes, I'm committed, I want to do this, then the Holy Spirit will respond to that. The Holy Spirit is saying, oh, wow, okay, you're actually willing to listen. Okay, great. So we'll just really help you with this process to do it and make it effective and as easy as possible. And then, the ego might come in and try and resist it. Of course, you'll get that too. But you've got this, very powerful voice that's starting to speak to you more and more. It's just saying, no, don't listen, don't go there. Listen to me, I'll guide you. And then you get the answers. Whatever the ego throws up, the Spirit's got an answer. So yeah, really, good luck with the journey. And it's good to be journeying together. We'll hopefully do many more of these sessions over the coming months and year.
Seems like a good day to commit to it on the first day of the year course.
Yeah, exactly. You've just made a commitment, and that's why on the level of form, the money is a symbol of commitment, isn't it? It's like, yeah, okay, I'm in. That's why, like, upfront, I'm in. Great, you've made the commitment, so now make it work for you. Whereas, what I find is that people aren't committed to the process, they won't commit the money. It's they need to be really heartfelt, and then it's not a big deal really. She's like, yeah, I know that this is way beyond £500. It's like it's a token really. That's all it is. It's like, yeah, it's a sign of my commitment. And so let me take it, take that commitment to another level now. So well done, because you've really, like, some people do the 3-week free trial and they don't really make use of it, sadly. Like, they don't show up to any sessions. So, well, it's of limited value then, I don't know what they do on recording, if they're listening to recordings or whatever. But if you practicing and showing up to the live sessions, and that's what's going to get you the shift that you is your heart's desire. Okay, so shall we close this out with a meditation? I don't think we're going to have time for the text today, unfortunately. We're already nearly 2:30.
Yeah, a meditation.
So let's do a 15-20 minute med and close it out on that note. So if you want to put your phone on, put yourself on mute. There we go. Just going to close the door. Okay, so just making yourself comfortable, sitting with your feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clenching the sphincter muscle to lock the energy in, draw the energy up the spine into your heart center. Put one hand on your heart to connect in with your heart space. And draw the energy up into the crown of your head, just pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. And just scan your mind. So notice any thoughts, any feelings, emotions, sensations in the body related going on. Just breathe into those, create some space, some light, some awareness. And just remind yourself of today's lesson. So, God being love is also happiness. And it is happiness I choose today. I cannot fail because love and happiness are the truth. Say that with meaning and conviction to yourself. And so anything that's not love and not happiness is not true, and you can simply let it go. So do that now with the help of your breath. Exhale. have a sense of just releasing this negative energy, and letting go of this darkness. Imagine you blowing it out like a black cloud, black smoke out of your mouth. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest. And peace in the stillness. For a few moments, remind yourself, God being love is also happiness. There's only happiness I choose today. I cannot fail because love and happiness are the truth. And then just sink into this deep state of mind. Beyond all your illusions, what you think is going to make you happy in this world lies the truth. The deeper love that you are. And in that state, when you are in love, connected with love, experiencing love, then happiness is your natural state. Happiness will simply arise in this natural state. So just surrender into that state. It's there, it's waiting for you. Don't resist it, don't block it, just surrender into it, sink into it. Go more and more deeply with every breath. So this deep state of connection, deep state of love. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just relax and be still, sink into this deeper love the next few minutes of deep silence. So if any thoughts arise to seemingly disturb your peace, just observe them. Breathe in. You can imagine you breathing light, spacious awareness into them, and then remind yourself of today's lesson. God being love, He is also happiness. So happiness and love are my choice today. I cannot fail because love and happiness are the truth. Blow it all out, let it all go, and sink inwards to the love and the happiness that are yours in truth. And so just gently coming back in this deep state into awareness of the body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on count of 3, going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clenching the sphincter muscle, lock the energy in. Just draw the energy up the spine to your heart center. Putting one hand on your heart, connecting with your heart space. Run the energy up into the crown of your head. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. Just Scan your mind again. Notice any thoughts, any emotions, any sensations going on. Anything that's not perfect happiness. Just look at it and remind yourself, God being love is also happiness. And so I choose only happiness today. And I cannot fail because love and happiness are the truth. And then let it go with the help of your breath, releasing the thought, the emotion, the energy, and just dropping into deeper state awareness. Letting it all go to the nothingness that it really is. And the low stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And just on the count of 2, just
Jono,
yeah,
they're leaving in a minute. You'll be
just
won't have you back here.
down. So on the count of 2, just notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. As you breathe in, notice any smell in your nose. Notice any taste in your mouth. Notice what you feeling and touching. Notice what you're hearing. Just don't let anything bother you, so you just observe the sensations without any attachment, without any interpretation. There can be no problem. And try and stay in this happy awareness. So if you just connect in with it, stay rooted in it for the rest of the afternoon and evening. Set that intention. So it is said, so it is done. And on the count of 3, open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around, noticing the various objects in the room around you. Let your eyes rest randomly on something for a second or 2 or 3 and then move on to something else. And notice really that your underlying awareness hasn't changed. It's the same awareness. So the more you do this, the more you start to learn that this awareness, which is love, is also happiness, and this is the state of mind that you want to stay in, stay connected to. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and today's session. So thank you so much, Sally, and I'll see you tomorrow, maybe
Monday.
tomorrow afternoon. I'll probably be able to join a bit later because I'm traveling and stuff. So if we could do a session at say 3 o'clock your time, does that work?
I'll have to see. Maybe, yeah. Maybe for a short while. Yeah.
Okay. I'll put it on the group. So
yeah. All right. Have a good trip.
Thank you so much.
See you on the other side.
Yes. See you tomorrow in the UK.
Yeah. See you then. Bye.
Okay. Bye.